Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate with Karina Cisneros. Today's show is sponsored by Blue Water Mortgage, Summit Title, Allstate Insurance, Dana Gunnarsson Agent, and the Cisneros Realty Group at Keller Williams, servicing the New Hampshire Lakes and White Mountains regions. It's time now to join our host, Karina, and Let's Talk Real Estate on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio, Lakes Region.
Karina, 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 I love you so.
And good morning. This is Karina Cisneros, Realtor with Keller Williams, Lakes and Mountain Realty in Meredith, New Hampshire. Our show focuses on all aspects of real estate, and in the next 30 minutes, we'll give you important information that will help you with either buying or selling your home. Today, I am joined by a great friend, Robin Webster of Great Impressions Staging. So tell me, Robin, how long ago did you start Great Impressions Staging?
I started my business 9 years ago. It was when my youngest daughter went off to college, and I was always involved in the real estate industry, and I thought that staging was my calling, so I started 9 years ago.
Tell me a little bit about that calling. What was it that drew you to dedicate yourself to staging homes?
I have a background of selling real estate and also appraising real estate, and I've renovated and flipped homes. Everything that I've done, I've always staged the home to sell it, and any home that I've sold really quickly. In the beginning, I was informally doing it for a realtor friend, and she liked what I did so much, she said, you need to do this as a profession. So I took a course in Boston and started my business, and it's been 9 years. And also a group of us started a real estate staging association for the state of New Hampshire.
Phenomenal.
And I'm a founding member, and I'm also the current president. And we're associated with the National Association. And last year I won 2 national awards.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have a superstar in the studio.
That's awesome. I'm really dedicated to the business.
I know you are because we've worked together and I know your work.
Yeah. And I really love what I do.
Okay, so let me ask you, essentially, what is staging?
Staging is the process of preparing a home for sale, and it's a particular focus on presentation. So when I meet with a client, it's making recommendations on, sometimes it can be cosmetic work that should be done before it goes on the market. But a lot of times it's decluttering, depersonalizing, removing family photos, cleaning, making it streamlined and making the rooms feel bigger, more spacious, more conducive to entertaining, and making it more attractive to more of the masses. So you want every client to walk in and feel like they could live in that house.
That is quite something. As a realtor, I've seen homes that are unstaged. We had one at South Down Shores. Mm-hmm. And then my client hired you to come in, give them some advice. And they took your advice. You went in about 2 days. You brought in furniture. Mm-hmm. You rearranged some of their furniture.
Right.
You put highlights on the walls. You brought in lamps. You brought in
decorative accessories, rugs. Right. We went through the whole house and did whatever was needed to give it the best presentation.
And I remember walking in after that, and I was like pleasantly shocked. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the process. So they've hired you. It's cost them money. What is the result of hiring you? What can clients expect if they hire you or a stager who is professionally accredited to do a house?
It's going to give a buyer the excitement when they walk in the door that this is the house for them. And my goal is to have a buyer walk in and not want to go look at another house. They want to sign out that purchase and sales right then on the spot. And if you're fortunate enough and you do everything right, and pricing also is very important, you could potentially get multiple offers, maybe sell for more than you're asking.
Okay, so you're going to tell us a little bit later on in the show some anecdotes, which are always fun to hear, you know, where real life meets the actual theory, right?
Right.
Which I'm sure you have many, correct?
I do. I have lots of stories, yes.
Okay, good. Thanks for listening this morning. This is Let's Talk Real Estate on WEEI 101.5 Sports Radio Lakes Region. I am Karina Cisneros, and my guest today is Robin Webster from Great Impressions Staging. Okay, Robin, so tell me, what are the different options for a homeowner to stage?
Well, first of all, I really like most people to start out with a consultation.
Yep.
And with that consultation, I give them an education on how staging can benefit them. Because a lot of people don't understand staging. It's been around for about 30 years in the United States, but in New Hampshire, it's really only been in existence for maybe 10. And really the last 5 or so, it's taken off. So people need to be educated on how it really can benefit their bottom line on what they sell their house for.
Okay, so what would that consultation cost them if they wanted just a consultation?
A consultation is $200. And typically I meet with them for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I do a little PowerPoint for them to give the visuals of my work and give them the confidence of what I do. And then we go from room to room, and I make suggestions on what improvements they should make. And it could be cosmetic, could be doing some painting or replacing light fixtures.
So after you finish the consultation, they can still take that information and do it themselves, or they may decide, this is really incredible, we should probably go further to the next stage, which is what?
So a lot of times a homeowner will do a lot of the initial decluttering, packing up things that I recommend, and then they may have me come back and do what I call fine-tuning. So I'll spend a few hours in the home, rearrange furniture, artwork, accessories. We'll actually explore the home to find things they probably didn't know that they had that would make great decorative pieces, and just have it the best presentation possible. And a lot of times people aren't in a position to buy anything. We just use what they have.
When you work with Cisneros Realty Group and we are going to list your house, Cisneros Realty Group pays for that consultation fee. Okay, next question. How has real estate changed in the last 30 years from your point of view?
Well, the biggest thing is the internet.
Yeah.
So 30 years ago, this is what we had, the MLS book.
An MLS book
I got my hands on one.
which
This is
says January
is
5th,
1994.
1994. It's for those of you who are listening, it's a huge, big telephone book looking.
All you
book.
had was one small, probably 3x3 square with one exterior photo and a short description of what your home had to offer. So what's totally changed real estate forever is the internet. So people will go on the internet. They probably will sign up with your real estate site, and they'll get a notification every day. And then they'll start clicking on photos. And that's where staging is so important.
In the internet is where people get the first glimpse of what a house looks like.
Right.
And so those photos and that staging have to be the best possible to have them pick up the phone and say, hey, can I go see that house?
Absolutely.
And that's critical.
Because a lot of times people won't come back and look at that house a second time. So
Correct.
it's really important to have it looking its best the first time that it goes on the market.
It's time to take a break and hear from our sponsors. And remember, the video and podcasts for all our shows are available on Facebook, YouTube, and on letstalkrealestatenh.podbean.com. Thank you for listening this morning. We'll be right back with more Let's Talk Real Estate after this on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home.
Jonathan Ferrante and his team at Blue Water Mortgage is your local mortgage company. They take great pride in guiding clients through the home buying process to help them realize their home ownership dreams. They understand that buying a home can seem stressful, but it doesn't have to be when you work with Jonathan and Blue Water Mortgage. He's available 24/7 to answer any questions and has the tools and resources to give you personalized service, great products, competitive rates, and no surprises. Let Blue Water Mortgage help you get started on your journey to home ownership. Jonathan Ferrante, NMLS number 1694126. Blue Water Mortgage, NMLS number 1291.
Buying and selling real estate is hard, but it doesn't have to be when you partner with an agent that has a proven track record of success. The Cisneros Realty Group at Keller Williams Lakes and Mountains Realty in Meredith helps you fulfill your homeownership dreams through a caring and trusting relationship. They provide exceptional service and advocate for your best interests. The Cisneros Realty Group is your trusted real estate advisor, creating a long-standing relationship now and in the future.
Hi, this is Karina Cisneros from Keller Williams Lakes and Mountain Realty in Meredith. For many years, clients have been putting their trust in me and my full service team.
we dedicate ourselves to getting you the most for your home. Remember my name, Karina, like the song, Karina, Karina.
Turbocharge the sale of your home with the professionals at the Cisneros Realty Group, part of Keller Williams Lakes and Mountains, 66 Route 25, Meredith, New Hampshire. Experience and integrity you can trust. The Cisneros Realty Group, online at nhlakeshomes.com. This is Let's Talk Real Estate with Karina Cisneros on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region. Once again, here's Karina.
We're back with my special guest, Robin Webster of Great Impression Staging. And we were talking about staging. Staging increases a buyer's perception of value and the urgency to buy your home. Homes that are staged sell faster and for more money. So let's hear some stories and anecdotes.
I have one interesting story that a couple owned 2 waterfront homes. One that they had owned for 15 years and the other one that they had bought a year prior, and they were preparing to sell the old one.
It is on Lake Winnipesaukee.
On Lake Winnipesaukee. So I staged the old house, and they were getting ready to put it on the market, and the owner's wife came to me and said, "We need to sit down and talk." And she was very serious. And I thought maybe I did something that she didn't like. So we sat down, and she said, "I love everything that you have done with this house, and we've decided to move back into it." So they sold the other home. So staging their old home made them want to move back into it.
Well, that's phenomenal. You want to come to my house?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And stage my house, so I don't want to sell it ever?
Yeah. I did one 2 years ago. Their house had been on the market for 5 years with another realtor, and it was priced high. They got a new realtor. The realtor had me come in, stage the house, and take professional photos, and it was gorgeous, and it sold in 2 months. So they bought another house that I staged.
Okay.
When they closed on their house and it was empty, she said to me, if I had ever seen this house empty, I never would have bought it.
What is the power of staging? I mean, is it colors? Is it proportions? Is it light? What is it?
It's all of that. It's all of that. But it's just, it has to grab you emotionally, and you have to envision yourself living in the house. You have to be excited about it. And when it's empty rooms, echoey, cavernous spaces, it's hard to wrap your head around what
Could it be that staging can be so powerful that when you look at a home that's staged, you're really falling in love with the ambience instead of
absolutely
the volume or the rooms themselves?
Absolutely. To me, it's money well spent, and I wouldn't consider selling any of my homes without staging them first.
Thanks for listening this morning. This is Let's Talk Real Estate on WEEI 101.5 Sports Radio Lakes Region. My name is Karina Cisneros, and I'm here with Robin Webster of Great Impression Staging. Okay, give us the 5 things that anybody can do by themselves that would make a significant difference when they're about to put their house for sale.
Decluttering is one thing. And when you go into your kitchen, you want to clear off your counters. You want to clear off the top of your cabinets. You want to hide your trash can. You want to hide your dog toys and dog beds. And you want to make sure that everything is clean and remove all extra pieces of furniture. A lot of times people will have things that might be sentimental that fill up the home that are unnecessary for selling. So big hutches, big bookcases, large pieces of furniture, or even a dining room that has all the extra chairs and small tables around the perimeter. You want to remove all that small stuff and make it really simple and streamlined.
What second piece of advice would you think?
Removing family photos.
Okay.
It's hard for a buyer to envision seeing themselves living in your house if there's a lot of family photos around.
So we have 5 senses. We've always heard about the apple and the apple pie.
Right. Smell is really critical.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things you can do this time of year is really open your windows and let that air circulate. Especially if it's a home that's been closed up all winter, they become really stale. And you don't want to make it perfumey. You just want to make it clean and fresh. And you had mentioned baking cookies or something like that. That's always a welcome smell.
Okay. And what if there's just too much furniture? Sometimes you
absolutely.
remove,
you need to
right?
remove. And a lot of times people will have furniture that's too big for the space.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah. So
many times you'll offer to take those out, put them in storage,
well,
and you bring some of yours because you have a a warehouse. How big is your warehouse full of furniture and things?
6,000 square feet.
6,000
Right,
square feet.
Right now I have 12 homes furnished.
12 homes.
And I have 4 more on my schedule coming up.
It's a busy
Yeah.
season, is it?
Oh, yeah. But it hasn't slowed down. I never got slow last winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Robin, I want to thank you for spending time with us today. We aim to educate our public, and I think what you do is critically important. Would you come back on the show if we need you again?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you for
Thank
that.
you for having me.
It's a pleasure to see you.
Always good to see you,
And
too.
working with you is always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Karina.
Okay, it's time to take a break and hear from our sponsors. And remember, the video and podcast of all our shows are available on Facebook, YouTube, and on Let's Talk Real Estate NH.podbean.com. Thank you for listening this morning. We'll be right back with more Let's Talk Real Estate after this on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region.
Sweet home Alabama, where the skies are blue. Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you.
When you purchase or refinance your home, you have a choice in who takes care of your title, deed work, and the closing. Summit Title has earned a reputation for accuracy, dependability, timeliness, and flexibility. They work with you on your timetable to ensure a smooth closing regardless of the complexities that may be involved. When your loan officer or real estate professional asks you who you want to use for your closing, tell them you want Summit Title. You have a choice. Learn more at stscorp.com. Summit Title Services, your closing resource in New Hampshire, Maine, and Massachusetts.
With the purchase of a new home, you have a lot of choices in homeowner insurance. Working with a local professional to get the right insurance for your home and family is essential. Protect your home with Allstate Insurance and use your local agent, Dana Gunnarsson. Dana is local to the Lakes region and takes the worry out of homeowner insurance. She handles everything from start to finish, working directly with your mortgage lender. She customizes a policy that fits your budget and your needs. Contact Dana directly at 630-9754. You're in good hands with Allstate and Dana Gunnarsson.
This is Let's Talk Real Estate with Karina Cisneros on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region. Once again, here's Karina.
And we're back. This is Karina Cisneros on Let's Talk Real Estate with me, with Karina. Okay. Today in the studio, Dana Gunnarsson.
Thank you for having me.
Dana, is always a pleasure. Why do we have Dana Gunnarsson on our show? Because she knows about insurance. We also have her on our show because she's our sponsor. So Dana's going to tell us about how to save money with your home insurance. So what's the biggest discount you offer on home insurance?
The biggest one and definitely the best one is to bundle your auto with your homeowner's insurance. You can save with our particular company up to 35% off of your home insurance. And then there's also another very significant discount on your auto insurance as well by having them together.
Okay. Is there a reason home insurance tends to increase in premium yearly?
Well, every year, insurance companies try to keep up with the cost of building materials and labor. So they have to keep up with it by increasing the replacement cost of your house, which means what they're going to pay out when, God forbid, something happens to your house to rebuild it. So it does tend to creep up. I always say call your agent, do a review, and see how you can get it back down to something a little bit more reasonable.
Okay, so let's say I insure my house, but I've heard about an umbrella policy.
Yes.
So what more does it cover usually, and is it worth having an umbrella policy?
So an umbrella policy is somebody who has a lot of assets. So what you want to do is sit down with your agent, figure out what you have for assets, what your net worth is, and then your liability insurance should be up and above that. So once you figure out how much you have to protect, then you have to figure out, if the umbrella makes sense for you. And it's usually $1 million to $5 million, depending on, the insurance needs. And it's not very expensive. $1 million, can run you anywhere between $180 to a couple $100, depending on the situation. So for $1 million worth of coverage, it's not that expensive, and it's peace of mind.
Are there any discounts available if you do renovations to your home?
Yes, there are 4 different categories, I would say. Any type of major addition, if you replace your roof, if you do electrical updates, plumbing updates, or heating and cooling updates. So you want to make sure you call your agent and talk to them about that.
So why are those discounts given?
Because if you update your electrical
Yeah.
or your roof, you're cutting down the probability of a claim.
Okay, got you. Last week, we had Dana Beltate from A1 Mold Pro.
I met him. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Tell us again about insuring for mold.
Most policies come with about $10,000 of mold coverage. You can build up on that, but it's very difficult to prove because definition of a covered loss is it's sudden and accidental. And mold, as you know, kind of grows over time. So it really depends on the type of loss, whether it's covered or not by your homeowner's insurance.
So when is mold not covered?
If it's happened for a really long time, if it's like a slow drip or something like that, that's going to be really difficult to cover.
What would cause a homeowner to lose a discount?
Well, if you do happen to have a claim, some companies do charge you for a claim-free discount. It'll come off the policy once it renews after the claim. The nice thing about the company that we work for is we actually have a claim guard, and that's gonna make it if you purchase this policy, so your rate does not go up in the event that you have a claim.
Okay, we only have about one more minute.
Okay.
But what is the number one big no-no that clients do that could harm themselves when they get insurance? Is there just one thing that you tell your would-be insurers, don't do this because it's not worth it?
I would say if you have a claim, always call your agent first, talk to them about it, see if it's covered before you just go ahead and put it in.
Is there a 55 and retired discount?
There typically is a 55 and retired discount on a home policy, so make sure you tell your agent if you are retired because it doesn't just happen.
Okay, Dana, it's a great pleasure to have you again on our show.
Thank you.
If you'd like to contact Dana, her phone number is 603-434-4705. Now let's talk about a really interesting and fun topic, living on the lake. There's always something about water. We want to live on the water. We want to go find that house and buy the house and live a lake life. But what is it really like to live on the lake? Well, today we have a very special friend and guest, Art Abelman. He happens to live on Lake Winnisquam, one of my favorite lakes. He lives on the north side of the lake near the Loon Preserve. And he's been living in his house for the past 25 years. Welcome to our show, Art.
Thanks very much. It's always a pleasure.
So Art and I see each other almost every other morning at George's Diner in Meredith. We got talking about real estate, lake living, and he told me about some of the things people don't think about when it comes to living on the lake. So let's start with number one.
Well, 25 years ago, I bought my house, and I knew I wanted to be on the water, but I didn't really know all of the different things that come along with that. But all of a sudden, you have relatives and friends that you never knew you had, especially on the hot days.
Okay.
And they show up.
And that's fun, right?
It is fun.
Until
some of the expenses and some of the wear and tear, and those who are there to help set up and those who are not there to help set up and tear down, because it's a lot of work to get a lake house up and running in the beginning of the summer and then to get it torn down a little bit in the preparation for winter.
Okay.
So there's ups and downs.
Okay, what's the next one you want to share?
I think that my experience on the lake has shown me that when you first get there, you're excited to be there, but you don't realize some of the changes that you'll want to make. And pretty soon, you want everything to be bigger. So your house is great, but you want the deck to be bigger. Your patio is great, but you want the patio to be bigger. Your dock is wonderful, but you want a larger dock because now you want a larger boat. And so I think when you go into the idea of moving onto a lake, you need to think about that it's a growth process.
Okay.
And you're starting out at the small part of it, but you will want to get bigger.
Okay, share another one.
With that same thought, I think is the idea that you'll start with a patio or a porch, and as one of my neighbors is doing now, all of a sudden you want it to be a screened-in patio and porch. People told me that when I first got there. Oh, you're going to do the deck? And I said, yes. They said, well, plan for the fact that you're going to want to screen it in soon. And I said, no, that'll never happen. And sure enough, it does happen.
Okay, share another one.
Garage, storage. You don't realize how many toys come with buying a lake house, and all those friends and family members, some who you never met, are all of a sudden in need of a kayak, a canoe, a wakeboard, the paddle boards, all the different toys that people want to have, the tubing, and so forth. And so That's wonderful in the summer when it's all out, but then come September, October, you have to all put it away somewhere. And the number of people I know who have then applied for variances to build a garage or expand their garage is innumerable as they realize the needs.
Okay, tell me about the trees.
They only get bigger.
Really?
They only get bigger. And so I know I cut down a lot where I live and do the same for others near me. But you think about your shade, and also you think about the fact that they come down in the wintertime. So it's windier on the lake, and you've got more tree maintenance to take care of. And the sooner you get to it, the easier it's going to be, because it can be an expensive process.
Okay, a topic dear to my heart, because I have 3 of them. Chiquita Banana, Don Juan DeMarco, and Christina My Heart, my 3 little dogs. Tell us about pets.
I think pets are wonderful. I've always been a dog person. But on the lake, it's a different story when you have a dog, because the dog can actually get himself or herself in trouble in the water. And some dogs are swimmers, some dogs are not. Some dogs are swimmers to the point where they swim so far you've actually lost track of where they are. And other times people bring dogs, and they don't necessarily understand what it is to have a dog at the water's edge and what that means. And it's also important because sometimes your neighbors are not dog people, and you have to be sensitive to the fact that the dogs do wander, and other neighbors who are close by because you're on the water don't necessarily have the same affinity towards the pet life.
Tell us about garden chemicals.
That's definitely something you have to think about, as everybody likes to have their own vegetable garden. There's 2 ways that people go on the lake. One is they want the perfect lawn and everything to be absolutely manicured beautifully. And then there's the other side, which is low maintenance or no maintenance. And if you go into the manicured side, you definitely are in use of some of the lawn care products that you want to take care of and know the different rules and regulations when you're that close to the water.
And finally, we have time for one more. Know your neighbor. Tell us about that one.
That's an important one. Sound on the water travels.
Yeah,
and it
does.
travels in funny directions that you wouldn't necessarily think of. So I actually can hear conversations from people who are across the lake from me as far as a half mile or mile away.
Wow.
But I can sometimes actually hear the perfect conversation.
Wow.
And things like music travel, the number of guests that are coming, where everyone's going to park on the private, quieter roads. And so you just have to think about what your neighbors are doing, what you're doing, and how to communicate openly so that you can both be able to enjoy the fact that you are on the lake, which is where you want to be.
So before we say goodbye to Art, I want to ask Art to tell us about an initiative that he spearheads called To Strengthen Initiatives Dedicated to Education in Schools. What's that about, Art?
Well, I'm a lifelong educator, spent 30 years as an educator. And on a cold day in January, sitting along the lake, I realized that people don't pay attention to is in some of the warmer climates like the Caribbean, where there are 2 sides of life. There's the side of life for those of us who go on vacation there and take a cruise line or stay at an all-inclusive resort. And there's a life of those who are living there as their home, who just don't have the same amount of resources that we have. And so I've started an effort to work with schools and children in some of those remote locations in the islands of Jamaica, St. Thomas, as well as the Bahamas, in an effort to point out the difference between the 2 sides and a desire to strengthen the initiatives dedicated to educating students in those areas.
Thank you, Art, for sharing that. If you'd like to contact Art to discuss that and much more, you can contact Art at Art Abelman. That's ART-AB as in boy, ELMANN at gmail.com. Art, thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you next time at George's Diner in Meredith.
Absolutely, and we'll have to have you out and enjoy some fun times on the lake and the water.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Alrighty, my pleasure.
Okay, join me next Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. for another episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. And if you or someone you know is looking to purchase a new home or sell, please contact me at 603-273-6160. You can also find me on Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, nhlakeshomes.com. If you missed today's show, no worries. The video and podcast are available on YouTube, Facebook, and on letstalkrealestatenh.podbean.com. And remember, mi casa es su casa. And my name is Karina, like the song Karina Karina. Until next time, play my song.
Karina, 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 Karina.
Let's Talk Real Estate is presented by the Cisneros Realty Group and sponsored by Blue Water Mortgage, Summit Title, and Allstate Insurance, the Joe Suazo office in Derry, New Hampshire. Let's Talk Real Estate is a production of Modern Media LLC, CRG TV, and MR Strategic Alliance LLC, all rights reserved. Join us every Saturday morning at 8:30 and Let's Talk Real Estate with Karina Cisneros, Realtor, on WEEI 101.5 Sports Radio Lakes Region.